What's up, y'all? This is Henny. And listen, today I want to break down how I have my live stream set up using Ecamm Live and Streamdeck, as well as all my hardware and software things that I got going on this desk. A lot of people have been asking me how I have this set up and why I do the things that I'm doing for live stream as it relates to music production, video editing, and other things that we talk about on this channel. Let's get into it right now. Let's go!
The business.
So to start out, let's talk about why I set up a desk like this. Right, as you can see, this is my normal YouTube setup, but it is also my normal virtual learning, live streaming setup for everything that I go live on. And the only reason I do that is because I am a sucker for convenience. Let's be real. Everything that I have set up here is so that it's more convenient for me to be able to do all the things that I need to do at one time, whether I need to go live streaming, whether I'm teaching, whether I'm doing a video like this. I want to make sure I can set it up and the look stays consistent, the audio stays consistent, and I don't really have to fiddle as much with all my things around me. So that's why I have it set up like this, and I love the way it's turned out so far, but y'all know me, I'm always changing things up, trying to make it even better. Let's go and talk about the hardware, and I'll show you exactly what I got set up, and then we'll go into the software. Starting with the hardware, of course, I've talked about this on my what's on my desk, how I have my desk set up, my desk tour. You'll be able to catch that up there. I'll put a card up there. And yeah, I have it set up so that I have a camera up here. I have a camera overhead. I have a BTS camera where I can use it to kind of show people what's going on around my situation. And then I also have my iPad hooked up directly into my M1 Mac Mini. So starting with the camera, I have the Sony A7C. And I love the Sony A7C based off the fact that it's full frame, that it's small and compact, but it also has great autofocus, great colors coming straight out the camera. If you wanted to know exactly what profile I'm shooting on, I'm shooting on the standard profile and have been since I've got this camera. I think the colors and everything look great, and I'm using the 20mm 1.8 lens from Sony, the G lens, and I love the way it gives me a wide look, but it still gives me somewhat shallow depth of field. Hooked up to my Sony, I have two things hooked up. I have my CamLink 4K HDMI adapter that's going directly from micro HDMI to regular HDMI. And then on top of it, I have the XLR K3M adapter. It's an audio adapter from Sony. And I love having this set up like this because I can have my audio coming directly to my camera if I'm talking like this doing a YouTube video, but then I also can have that audio sent into Ecamm, and I'll show you how that's set up in a second. But, you know, I have this microphone, the Shure MV7, connected to this adapter, and I'll show you a little bit about my audio processing and how I have that set up. In front of my Sony lens, I have what's called a black pro mist filter, and I have it in the 67mm thread, and it has the 1/4 intensity. So what that's going to do is kind of soften up the lights behind me and give me more of a glowy look in the back. And I kind of like that. It kind of softens up the image a little bit, maybe gives it a little bit more cinematic feel. So that's the camera. That's what I have connected into it. In front of it is my light here, and I just have it based off kind of like a high key. So it's basically positioned right in front of my face, kind of gives me a nice soft light, and that is the Falcon Eyes 18TD. It's a nice light recommended by Caleb Pike, and I only have the intensity up to about 20%, and it gives me a nice soft look to my footage. On top of my desk, I have the Sony ZV-1, and that is just, you know, my top-down angle, and I love to be able to have something small and lightweight that can just sit there and be a great top-down angle, and the Sony ZV-1 does great because you don't necessarily need that shallow depth of field, and so, you know, it has great autofocus, allows me to, you know, bring things into frame when I need to bring things into the frame. And it works extremely well for a top-down angle. That's the Sony ZV-1. Now, onto my desk. Starting to the left of me, I have my iPhone 12 mini. That's connected via just lightning cable coming directly in to my M1 Mac Mini, and it shows up in Ecamm Live as a video source using this app called Shoot. I'll put a link in the description of you know, all the apps and things that I'm using. Right. And so I use that as a BTS angle so that, you know, if I need to show what's going on around my desk, what's going on around my studio, you'll be able to see that. And I can just easily take off this camera and show people what's going on around my situation. And yeah, I like that for that. And I switched out my iPhone 12 Pro Max because I really like to use that every day, viewing content and everything like that. Of course, yes, I do have both. Now, in front of me, I have the Stream Deck XL. Originally, I had the regular Stream Deck, but after doing a few live events, after doing a lot, more virtual learning, I needed a little bit more buttons and, ways that I can control my computer without using the keyboard or the mouse. And so I love having the Stream Deck XL. It's giving me enough buttons to be able to switch between applications, as well as being able to really do things in Ecamm Live between switching scenes, starting my countdown timers, my intros, my outros, all of those things, which we will show in a second. Then I'm right here in the middle. I have my iPad 2020 11-inch. And I have this connected so that I'm able to show what's going on in my live feeds, as well as if I'm doing music production on my live feeds, I can do it without any latency. Now, that was kind of tricky to try to figure out, to make sure that I can bring it in as a video source, but then also have no latency audio. And it was tricky trying to figure that out, but I did figure it out in a way. And let me show you how I have that set up. So I just have one USB Type-C connected, as you can see on my desk, and that's routed underneath my desk. And I'll show you the kind of things that I have without going completely under my desk. But what I have down there, an Evo 8. This is the Evo 4. I talked about this in a couple other videos, but I have the Evo 8, which is its bigger brother. It has more ins and outs. And what I did, this is my main interface, the Evo 8. Right? It's underneath my table, and that's connected to my M1 Mac Mini, just like a normal interface, right? So I have that as an audio interface, but then I have something like this. This is the Dragonfly digital audio converter, and I have this so that I can take something like a USB Type-C hub. This is one from Pergo that I use. I have that connected underneath my desk, so I can take the audio from my iPad and then take a splitter cable. Hold on. Follow me here. Take a splitter cable that goes from headphone out, and then it goes into, this isn't the correct cable, but it would go to two 1/4 cables, and you'd plug it directly into my Evo. That's going to have it set up. Like I said before, this isn't the right cable that I'm using right now, but what I'd have underneath is two cables plugged in like that into my Evo, so that I can get the audio coming directly into my Mac Mini without any latency. But then I can also use the USB Type-C hub, which has an HDMI out. And then I have the HDMI out going into a cheap HDMI adapter that connects to the computer. Hopefully that makes some sense. We could talk about it in the comments if you're a little bit confused at how I have this set up. But it's basically, I have two interfaces. I have an interface that's basically coming out of my iPad Pro, and then that is being split out to splitter cables into my Audient Evo 8, and then that is going into my Mac Mini. Yes, it's a lot, but it works for me as far as no latency music is concerned on my live streams. And like I said, I have a cheap HDMI adapter that goes from HDMI to USB, and that's the way I connect the video feed into Ecamm Live. And of course, when I want to play live or play on any virtual session, I basically just have my keyboard. This is my X key 37 key. I have that plugged in directly into my iPad Mini, and that's connected to the USB-C hub underneath my desk, so that everything musically is still running from my iPad. I'm just using my Mac Mini for the streaming. And then underneath my desk, right here in the front, is a new addition I picked up a couple weeks ago, and that is the DBX 286S. And what that is a hardware channel strip that allows me to get excellent quality audio coming from this Shure SM7B directly into my audio adapter that's going to my Sony. So I have this channel strip set up so that the gain's corrected. I have the right amount of compression. I have the right amount of de-essing, so it takes some of that S's and that out of my vocals. I also have some low frequency presence and some high frequency presence that is already built into this channel strip. I have that set up with a little bit of gate and expansion so that I can make sure I minimize the background sounds in the house. I have all of this set up, like I said, for convenience, so that my audio needs are coming directly from this microphone, not only to my camera that is shooting these YouTube videos, but also my camera is run into the Camlink 4K so that I can do the same thing on my Mac Mini when I'm doing virtual calls. So besides other dongles and other things to make this all work, that's basically the hardware setup. Now let's talk software, and what software do I have to connect all of these things to go live? First things first is Ecamm Live. This software is so incredible and convenient. Key is convenient for setting up high quality live feeds, high quality virtual learning, high quality recording directly to your computer. Now, if you want to learn more about Ecamm Live, you can always search about Ecamm Live. It is a monthly subscription service to be able to use this software in its pro mode, but it is so worth it if you're taking live streaming seriously. I've talked about this before. I have another video I'll link up here about Ecamm Live, but I'll go through it quickly. I have different scenes, right? I have my main scene. I have ZV1 scene, my iPad with main, meaning I can use my audio with it, my iPhone 12, a big boy 4-channel split. All these things I created are scenes so that all I have to do is either hit this play button up here, or I can hit one of these Streamdeck buttons and it'll go directly to those scenes that I'm talking about. So if I'm talking about the ZV1, I just click the ZV1 button and I'm doing that directly on my iPad. Doing directly on the Streamdeck, right? If I want to show you what's on my iPad, boom, I'm going directly on my iPad. I'm just pressing a button. I have all this set up through Streamdeck, right? These are the scenes. Now, I also have overlays set up, things that I set up before or after a call, whether it's showing my logo on a live stream or showing my timer right before a live stream. All of these things are built from overlays that you can build over your video. Of course, you have sound effects where you can play your sound effects and things like that during a live stream. And it's great that I can easily just hit the applause button or hit the, air horn button, regardless of whatever it is. I can do all of that directly from my Stream Deck, but it's already built in from Ecamm Live. And the awesome thing about it is, using Ecamm Live to go live on YouTube or Facebook, Twitch, or whatever you're doing, you're actually getting the comments and, the way that you're interacting with your community directly from the apps. It's showing up live in real time, and you can easily drag comments onto your live feed, and that makes it incredibly valuable for an immersive experience when you're live streaming and doing things of that nature. There's also camera effects, whether you want to do green screen or whether you want to pan or zoom into your video. You can zoom and do things like that. You can also, change the picture settings, whether you want to change the brightness or your saturation, other things like that. You can mirror or rotate your image. There's so many things that you can just do easily. And of course, there's, other programs like OBS, StreamYards, other ways that you can go live. But like I said, Ecamm Live is the most convenient, and I love this service for what it can do. The last new feature that Ecamm Live brought in is this new one called Interview, and it's very easy to turn on interview mode, right? And then from there, you're going to get a copy link where you can copy the link to your, interview that you're doing or whatever, send that to somebody else, and they can easily go into Chrome and type in that URL or paste that URL that you sent, and then they're connected directly into your Ecamm Live feed. And it makes it so good for doing podcasts, video podcasts, to be able to bring in, guests on a show that you're doing. It works extremely well. So that's a new feature that they have built in, and that's basically how I've been using Ecamm Live. Now, using Streamdeck, it's super easy to create your own buttons, to create your own hotkeys, any of your scenes, because it's already basically built in. So you have all of these, these tabs, which are based off of certain applications, whether it's your system or your, what's going on in Stream Deck. Do you want to do another multi-action, or do you want to create a different profile, right? Or come down here to something like Ecamm Live. All of these things are new buttons that you can create from your, based off of this type of Stream Deck you have. So if I wanted to say do a camera switcher, I just bring the camera switcher as a new button, and it'll show up right here on my Stream Deck. I can say what I want it to, what camera angle I want to send it to. And these are all my camera feeds, whether it's the capture cards or my iPhone or my iPad. And it's just as simple as that. You set it up, it locks in position. And, when you're done setting all your buttons up, regardless if you're doing, setting up an application or setting up like a scene that you want to do in Ecamm Live. It's super convenient. And that was one of the reasons why I switched from trying to use an ATEM Mini versus trying to use something like Streamdeck with Ecamm Live. One, because with the ATEM Mini, that's Blackmagic's HDMI switcher, it's a great device and they have so many different versions of it now. But, the convenience of being able to plug in iPads, being able to plug in iPhones without having to worry about having all these different HDMI cords or whatever, you can plug it directly in. A lot of these cameras have webcam utilities built in now, so you don't necessarily need capture cards, and you can plug it directly into your Mac, and it just shows up in Ecamm Live as a video, and sometimes a video and audio feed. That makes it just extremely capable to use something like Stream Deck to have your buttons already ready to go to be able to switch, and then also have something like Ecamm Live so that you can make sure everything works seamless and simple. Using Ecamm Live has a lot of benefits, but one of the other things that I had to invest in was a way to route my audio to apps like Zoom and other things like that so that all these audio feeds can go directly into something like Zoom. And so I use this app from Rogue Amiga called Loopback. And what I use for Loopback, which like I've talked about before, I wish it wasn't so expensive. I think it's like 99 bucks for this app. And I think they could have made this a little bit cheaper for what it does. But I have a few different sources, right? I have it set up as a virtual mic. So it's broke down in sources, output channels, and monitors. And so when you see here, right here, this Camlink 4K, this is my audio coming directly from my Sony XLR adapter. So you can see that going, right? If I'm playing something like, applause and comments, that's going to be coming from Ecamm Live. So I need that as a source of audio, right? If I'm playing something from, right, my keyboards and stuff like that on my iPad, anything that I'm playing from my iPad, that's coming from my Evo 8. And if I need to play something from the Finder or whatever, maybe a sound or a loop coming directly from the Finder inside my Mac, I needed that Finder. So it looks ridiculous, but I have two output channels. Now, I have channels 1 and 2. That's basically being routed. So all my, most applications will look for channels 1 and 2 when it comes to picking up the source that you have for Loopback, right? So I have all of these routed to channels 1 and 2. But then I also have some of them routed to 3 and 4. I have everything besides my microphone also routed to channels 3 and 4. And I do that so when I go into, apps like Zoom, I don't hear myself and there's that feedback and there's that loop echo of me hearing myself talk, right? So I use 3 and 4 to bring all of those things into when I use Zoom. I usually have one of my AirPods in, and I'm just using it like that. But then I also can have it sent to my Evo 8 if I need to monitor and check to see what it sounds like through my headphones, my normal, Shure Aonic 50 headphones. Or, if I'm sending it to an app called Pedal, which I'll be talking about very, very soon. Super exciting app. Talk about that in a little bit. But I have all this routed. So when I go into apps like Zoom and I come up here to preferences and then I go to test my mic, you can see now that I have something called virtual mic, and it has everything set up the way that I have it set up in Loopback. And it's definitely expensive for what it is, but for the most part, it just works. And I hate to always get people to spend money from all the things that I'm talking about on my channel, but I just wanted to show you exactly how I have things working and why I'm using the things that I'm doing. Sorry. So that's basically how I have my audio set up, how I have my video feed set up, how I'm running Ecamm Live, how I'm running a lot of these things using Stream Deck and adapters to be able to do things like this, but then also have music production that I can go live without any latency. And that is key to be able to do things like showing beats live or, making music on the spot live and not being able having that feedback or having that latency will kind of throw you off. And, the biggest thing for when you want to do live is how fast you can get it set up and how easily you're able to do things without having to fiddle with them. Because when you're doing things live, you don't have time to fiddle because you have an audience there and you got to be able to do it and be on point. So that's basically how I have this set up. Like I said, if you have any questions about this, please hit me with a comment below. I'm just trying to give y'all an oversight on why I have it set up like this. And it seems to be working extremely well today. Next week, I might be switching this whole thing up. Y'all know me. Don't hate on me for that. But that's it. I hope you guys learned something or got something from this today. And yeah, if there's anything else that you need from me, please hit me down below and let's chat about it. I hope you guys are all staying safe and doing well. Like always, stay consistent, stay at it, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Hit 'em out!